In this video, we are going to learn to use imperatives. What is an imperative sentence? What are imperative sentences? An imperative is a type of sentence. In this sentence, we tell people what to do. An imperative is to give orders, instructions, directions, or advice. Why do we use imperatives? Imperative sentences are to tell someone what to do or to give someone advice. They are also used to warn people. Warn means to tell them of a dangerous situation. They're also used to encourage people. Encourage means to tell them, good job, continue to do that. So we use imperatives for many reasons. To tell them what to do, to give advice, to warn people, to encourage. All of this is used, all of these are imperatives, and we use them with people we know, people we feel comfortable with. Here are some examples. Exercise every day. Wash your hands. Go away. Be careful. Don't text and drive. Don't eat in class. Always do your best. Never give up. Now that you learned why we use imperatives, let's learn how. How do we use imperatives? Don't use subjects. Subjects are implied. This means we cannot see the subject, but we know they are there. So we start with the verb, the base form of the verb. So let's look at these examples. Here, you exercise every day. We know the subject is you. You exercise every day. But imperative sentences don't use subjects. This means we only see like this. Exercise every day. We start with the verb, exercise. Wash your hands, wash. Don't text and drive. Don't text. Don't drive. Don't eat in class. Don't eat. We don't need you. We understand the subject is always you, so we don't include it. Because we don't use the subject, we need to use capital letters for the verb. This is the correct way to use imperatives. When we make imperatives, we can use them as positive sentences, positive affirmative sentences, or negative sentences. You always start with the verb. You can just use the verb, the base form of the verb, when you tell someone to do something, like wash your hands, drive safely, eat all of your vegetables, look out, be careful. Or if you're using a negative sentence, you use don't and then the verb. This is to tell someone to not do something. Don't wash your hands. Don't drive safely. Don't eat all of your vegetables. Don't look out. Don't be careful. So both are correct, positive sentences or negative sentences. Both are correct when you use imperative sentences. Because remember, we are giving advice. We are encouraging people. We are warning people or giving instructions or directions. You can use always to encourage people in positive sentences, or you use never to warn people about dangerous situations in negative sentences. For example, you can say, always clean your room. Never clean your room. Always brush your teeth. Never brush your teeth. Imperatives are to give orders, to give advice. So it's really important that you only use imperatives with people you know. It is rude, it's not nice, not polite to use imperatives with people you don't know, with strangers. Because it sounds like you're telling them to do something, right? You're giving an order, giving a command. You only do that with people you know. If you want, you can use please in imperatives. You can use please at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. For example, when you say, go to your room. Go to your room is an order. Go to your room. If you want to sound nicer, you can say, please go to your room. Or, go to your room, please. Use please at the beginning or at the end to make the imperative a little nicer, a little more polite. Also, if you want to include yourself, you want to be a part of the subject, you can. That's no problem. When you want to include yourself in the message, you use let's. Let's. Let's means let us. Us means all of us, everybody, including me. When you use let's, it is more polite. It sounds nicer because you are doing something together. When you tell someone, do your work, you're ordering them, do the work. They have no choice. They have to do it. But if you say, let's do our work, it's nicer because you say, you do your work, I do my work, we can work together. Clean the kitchen, let's clean the kitchen. Let's clean the kitchen is nicer. It sounds more polite. Don't make any mistakes. Let's not make any mistakes. They're both telling someone what not to do, but the first one, don't make any mistakes, sounds a little bit more rude. If you want to sound a little nicer, you can say, let's not make any mistakes. So remember, when you use let's not or let's do something, when you use it for negative, you say let's not and then the verb. No, don't. We don't use don't here. We say let's not make any mistakes. If you include yourself. If you are not in the group, then you say don't make any mistakes. Don't make when you are ordering someone. If you're including yourself, then you say let's not make any mistakes. But pay attention, we don't say let's don't. We say let's not and then the verb. In the next few slides, there are more examples, so please pause the video when you need it. Here are some examples of orders. To order someone is to tell someone to do something. For example, a manager can order workers. They can say, hurry up, or take a break. Mothers can order children. Mothers can say, for example, eat your vegetables, do your homework, be careful outside, don't talk to strangers. Teachers can also order students. Do your best. Don't talk during a test. Don't copy your classmates. So we use imperatives to order people. We also use imperatives to give instructions. To give instructions means to teach someone, to tell someone how to do something. Pause the video to read the example instructions. On this page, we can see examples of directions. We use imperatives to give directions. Pause the video to read some examples of imperative sentences. On this page, you can see examples of advice. To give advice means to tell someone to do something. You have examples here of doctors giving advice, parents giving advice, and teachers giving advice. Okay. So let's review. Imperatives. Imperatives are sentences that tell people what to do. We give orders, instructions, directions, or advice. We don't use subjects. For positive sentences, we start with the verb. For negative sentences, we start with don't plus the verb. You can only use this for people you know, and if you want to sound nicer, you can add please or let's to your imperatives. Let's practice. Here you have a table. Some imperatives are missing. Please complete the table below. Pause the video here to do this activity. Let's check your answers. Practice number 2. Read the sentences below and make imperative sentences. Pause the video to do this practice activity. Okay, let's check your answers. Okay, and now let's do a little bit of practice with let's. Practice number 3. You have negative imperatives here. You need to change the imperative to use let's. Practice using let's not with imperatives in this practice number 3. Pause the video to do this activity. Okay, let's check your answers. Remember, if there's something wrong, circle it and study this more. Thank you for watching. Please bring any questions to class.